Ever wonder who keeps those massive oil rigs pumping, even when the waves are crashing and the wind's howling?
Yeah, not a job I'd want.
Well, today we're diving deep into the world of a roustabout.
The unsung heroes of the oil and gas industry.
People don't realize how much goes on behind the scenes to keep those rigs operational.
It's true. Most people just think oil rig and think roughneck.
Right, lots of heavy lifting.
Excellent.
But roustabouts, they're like the Swiss Army knife of the operation.
That's a good way to put it. 1 minute, they could be wrestling drill pipes into place.
Sounds kind of dangerous.
Next minute, they're troubleshooting a faulty pressure gauge on a mud pump.
Hold on. A mud pump. What's that?
Good question. Mud pumps are crucial on a drilling rig. They circulate this special fluid almost like cement down the well bore,
To...
Lubricate the drill bit and keep the hole from collapsing.
Wow, the things I learned doing this. So if the mud pump goes down...
The whole operation can shut down.
And that's where a roustabout comes in.
You got it. They're the ones who have to diagnose the problem, figure out what went wrong, maybe a clogged line or a failing pressure sensor.
And then?
Use the right tools to fix it and get back online.
Okay, way more technical than I was picturing.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not just about being strong, it's about knowing how all these complex systems work.
You got it. And that's just one example.
Really?
They could be repairing hydraulic systems on the rig, inspecting all the safety equipment, even helping with welding and fabrication.
Wow, a jack of all trades.
And master of quite a few, if they're good. It's a job that takes both physical stamina and a sharp mind.
And speaking of demanding, the RoleCatcher guide we're looking at, they don't sugarcoat the working conditions.
Yep.
Offshore rigs, extreme temperatures, long hours. Is it really as tough as it sounds?
It can be, yeah.
What do you mean can be?
It depends on the person, their tolerance. But picture yourself on a platform, miles from shore. Sun beating down, rig vibrating under your feet. You're working 12-hour shifts.
Sounds kind of fun in a weird way.
Add in the potential hazards of working with heavy machinery and sometimes hazardous materials.
Okay, maybe not fun.
And it's not a job for everyone, let me tell you.
So the high earning potential that's listed in the RoleCatcher guide, that's definitely tempting, but it sounds like it comes at a price.
It's a trade-off, for sure. You're getting paid well for a reason. It's demanding, often dangerous work. And it can be hard on your personal life with the rotating shifts.
I bet.
But for some people, the adventure, the camaraderie, and the sense of purpose that they get from it, it outweighs those challenges.
Yeah, I can see that. So speaking of purpose, what's the career trajectory look like? Is this just a dead-end job, or is there room to move up the ladder?
That's where it gets interesting. RoleCatcher's breakdown of roustabout career stages, it really surprised me. It's not just a one-size-fits-all role. You start as an entry-level roustabout, learning the ropes, assisting the more experienced crew, but as you gain skills and knowledge.
You can climb that rig, so to speak.
Yeah. You move up to junior roustabout, then experienced roustabout, maybe even lead roustabout, supervising a team. And each step comes with more responsibility and, of course, better pay.
Of course, more money. So what separates a rookie roustabout from someone who's on track to become, say, a lead roustabout? Is it just about showing up on time and not dropping any wrenches?
It's definitely more than that. The profiles RoleCatcher provided were really interesting. It's about initiative, mastering those essential skills.
Like what?
Like being able to troubleshoot a hydraulic system on the fly, knowing the ins and outs of all the different types of drilling equipment.
So a willingness to learn and adapt is crucial. That's something we see across so many industries these days, but especially in a field as technical, as ever-evolving as oil and gas.
Absolutely. And that's where the Beyond the Wrench section of the guide really resonated with me.
Okay, let's unpack that a bit. What did you find so fascinating?
Well, it really highlights how technology is changing the game for roustabouts.
Yeah, we touched on that earlier.
Remember we were talking about the mud pumps?
Oh, right. Vital piece of equipment.
Imagine instead of just using hand tools to fix a clog, a roustabout could use a computer program to analyze the pump's performance in real time.
Fancy.
Predict potential problems before they even happen, and even control the flow rate remotely.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. So it's like being a mechanic, but for high-tech equipment, not your dad's old car.
Exactly. And that's just one example. We're talking about automation, robotics, sensor technology.
Wow.
All this new stuff is changing the way oil and gas operations are run, and roustabouts need to keep pace.
So it's almost like the role is kind of splitting into two paths. You have your traditional hands-on roustabouts, and then you have those who are embracing the tech, becoming specialists in these new systems.
And the interesting thing is, those paths They aren't mutually exclusive. The best roustabouts will be the ones who can bridge that gap. They have that hands-on experience and the technical knowledge.
It's like being bilingual, but instead of languages, it's wrenches and laptops. Uh-huh. Yeah, I like that analogy. And think about how that translates into career advancement. Let's say you're a supervisor, and you have two roustabouts, both hard workers. One is great with their hands, but the other one, they're also proficient with the latest diagnostic software. Who are you going to put in charge of troubleshooting that finicky new piece of drilling equipment?
Easy, the one with the tech skills.
Oh, yeah. This makes that knowledge and learning section even more interesting.
So what kind of things does RoleCatcher recommend for staying ahead of the curve?
They have some really practical advice. They talk about the importance of staying updated on industry publications, attending conferences and workshops, that sort of thing.
Right, so like always be learning.
Yeah, but they also emphasize being proactive, seeking out learning opportunities on the job,
Like what?
like maybe shadowing more experienced colleagues or volunteering for tasks that'll expose you to new technologies.
So it's not enough to just show up and do what you're told.
Hmm.
You need to be curious, take initiative, and actively look for ways to expand your skill set. You got it. And that brings us back to what we were saying earlier. This job isn't for everyone. It's not enough to just be physically strong. You need to be mentally agile, adaptable, and hungry for knowledge.
Right, and let's not forget, working on an oil rig is still inherently risky, even with all the technological advancements. RoleCatcher didn't shy away from that in their work environment section.
No, not at all. And that's something that anyone considering this career path needs to be comfortable with.
I imagine employers are really looking for people who are serious about safety, not the risk takers.
Oh, absolutely. They want someone who will follow protocols, who will speak up if they see something unsafe, and who will put the well-being of themselves and their team members first, above all else.
That makes me think about the typical interactions part of the guide. It sounds like communication is key in this role.
It's crucial. Roustabouts are always interacting with other crew members, from fellow roustabouts, rig operators, to supervisors, and even vendors. Being able to communicate clearly, listen attentively, and work effectively as part of a team is essential.
So for safety and for just getting the job done.
Exactly.
So it's not just about being a lone wolf with a wrench, it's about being a team player, communicating effectively, and creating that culture of safety.
Exactly. And that's something you can definitely highlight in a job interview.
Oh, that's right. RoleCatcher has that whole section on interview prep. They even have that feature where you can practice answering common interview questions.
Right. I think what's really great about their approach is they don't just give you canned answers. They encourage you to think critically about your own experiences and tailor your responses to demonstrate your understanding of the role and the industry.
Okay, so let's dive into that a bit. Let's say you're prepping for an interview, and the question is, tell me about a time you had to deal with a challenging situation on the job. How did you handle it? What kind of answer do you think would really impress a hiring manager in the oil and gas industry?
That's a great question. It's not something many people consider. That's a great question. It's not something many people consider, but it really gets to the heart of what oil and gas companies are looking for.
It is.
You want someone who can think on their feet,
Hmm.
someone who can solve problems and stay calm under pressure.
Right, so if I'm the one in the hot seat, I don't want to just say, oh, once I had to tighten a bolt that came loose,
Exactly.
I need a real nail biter.
This is your chance to really showcase those soft skills we were just talking about.
Okay.
Communication, teamwork, problem solving.
Got it.
So maybe talk about a time when a piece of equipment malfunctioned and you had to think quickly to isolate the problem, implement a temporary fix while you waited for a replacement part.
And make sure to mention how you kept everyone informed and safe during the whole process, right?
Exactly. Emphasize how your actions prevented downtime, minimized any risks, or even saved the company money.
So it's like telling a mini story that highlights those key qualities that make a great roustabout.
And a great employee in any field, really.
That's true. So for those who are in it for the long haul, what does the future hold for a roustabout? Is it a stepping stone to bigger and better things?
Absolutely. RoleCatcher's Career Compass feature, it maps out some really interesting possibilities.
Like what?
Well, with experience and additional training, a roustabout could move into a supervisory role, overseeing a team of their own.
Makes sense. They've been there, done that, so they'd be great at leading and mentoring newer roustabouts.
Exactly. Or they could take their skills in a totally different direction and become equipment operators.
What does an equipment operator do?
They specialize in operating and maintaining all that high-tech drilling and extraction equipment we were talking about.
Right. So there's that specialization again. Seems like the more specialized your skills are, the more valuable you become in this industry.
Yeah, that's the name of the game in a lot of industries, but especially this one. Think about it. Would you rather hire just a general mechanic to work on your car or a specialist who eats, sleeps, and breathes fuel injection systems?
Yeah, you're going to want to go with the specialist every time.
Exactly. And it's not just about those technical skills. As the industry is grappling with all these challenges, like climate change and sustainability, there's going to be a growing need for roustabouts who really understand these issues and can contribute to solutions.
Now that you mention it, RoleCatcher did touch on that environmental aspect,
They did.
emphasizing minimizing the environmental impact, adhering to safety regulations.
Right. So a forward-thinking roustabout might start looking into things like renewable energy technologies, or maybe they become an advocate for safer, more sustainable practices on the rig.
So it's almost like the role of a roustabout is evolving, in real time, becoming more technical, more specialized, and more environmentally conscious.
Exactly. It's a career path with a really bright future,
Huh.
but only for those who are willing to adapt, to evolve, and really never stop learning.
Wow, this deep dive has been really eye-opening. We started off thinking about wrenches and heavy lifting, but we ended up talking about cutting-edge technology, specialized skills, and the future of the energy industry.
That's what I love about the roustabout role. It's like a microcosm of all the big changes that are shaping the oil and gas industry as a whole.
And it's a good reminder that even in the most traditional hands-on industries, there's always something new to learn, new skills to master, and new challenges to tackle.
And those challenges, they can lead to amazing opportunities for those who are prepared.
Well said. This has been a really fascinating deep dive into the world of roustabouts. If you're out there considering this career path, do your research, use the resources available to you, and most importantly, never stop learning. Until next time, keep exploring, and we'll catch you on our next deep dive.